Good afternoon and welcome to this YouTube channel. My name is Bart, and in this video I'll give you an update about my build for the Great Guitar Build-Off 2021. But I'm going for What does a Greek philosopher who lived in the 5th century BC have to do with my build? Heracleitos was a Greek philosopher who lived in the 5th century BC, and he talked about a number of things, and some of his doctrines have controversy in the way they've been interpreted, with different ideas of exactly what he said. But one thing he talked about was about change, that nothing really remains constant. He talked about a flowing river. A river, by definition, it's a flowing body of water. The river doesn't change in the sense that it is still there, it's still called the same river, but the water that you stepped into would be different. It wouldn't be the same as it was the last time you stepped into it. And that's what he's talking about, constant change. Now, what has that got to do with my build? Well, if you recall, and if you happen to watch the pre-build video, I talked about what I planned to do, and I talked about some of the timber. To begin with, I didn't know what shape the guitar would take. That came in episode 1 when at the design stage, so that was changed from the pre-build. And will it stay exactly as it is? Well, it probably will stay roughly in that shape, but it won't be exactly as I drew it because I didn't draw in any carves, and I'm planning to carve the top, maybe even the back, and that for sure will change a little. And we talked about the timber. I've got the beech piece that goes right through the middle. That will still be there because that's what we've worked on. I'm not going to change that. But in episode 2, after a lot of sawing of the maple that I planned to use for the top, I said I may not use it after all. And I had 4 options, and actually there was a 5th option. The 5th option, which one of you called the 6th option in your comment to my episode 2 video, was to actually cut the maple narrower so that I can use the part of the grain that I like best. Now, that's one of the options, but obviously, that's something that has changed from episode 1 or even the pre-build video, where the plan was either to use only the mahogany piece that I had or to go with the mahogany and the maple top. So, what will I use? Well, I've made a decision about that, and it's Nara. So that's something that has changed, but which piece of Nara? Will it be the 20 millimeter thick Nara at the top with the mahogany at the back, or will it be the 50 millimeter Nara? Well, I don't know yet. So that's still going to change. We'll find out in episode 3 or even episode 4. The other thing that has changed is the bridge. After watching Ben Crow's video the other day,
We don't have string through drilling, string through body drilling, etc., which is, it's a challenge. It's not fun to do. It's still stressful. I've done it hundreds of times. I've probably not hundreds of times, but I've done it enough, and it still worries me every single time I do it. So if I can avoid that, I will, and if you can avoid that, please do.
I'm now reconsidering my option for the bridge. What exactly will I come up with? Well, I have an idea, but you'll have to wait till episode 4 when we deal with the body. So, with all the changes that are coming up, Heracleitos has inspired the name of my guitar, which I'm ready to reveal right now. So, I didn't have a name at the beginning. I didn't have a name for it in episode 1. I didn't have a name in episode 2. I now have a name in this mid-build update. And the name is right here, right across the bottom. Yes, inspired by Heracleitos, I'm going to call it Constant Flux because things keep changing. And they probably will continue to change before the end of the build. Now, this is a mid-build update. So that's all we're dealing with in this video. There's no build, it's going to be all talk. So if you're only interested in the build, then maybe you want to skip to the next video. But if you're interested in hearing about what's coming up and some of the plans that I have for the build, then stick with this video. It's not going to be very long. Now, talking about videos, for the Great Guitar Build-Off 2021, the rules say we're supposed to have a maximum of 6 videos, a maximum of 15 minutes in length. Now, I've already had a pre-build video, which, well, is not part of the build, it's just before the build. And I'm planning for 6 build videos. So there's episode 1 and 2 that I've released. And there will be an episode 3, 4, 5, and 6. It's early in April now, and the build is supposed to end, well, the competition ends at the end of June. That's 3 months. Now, if I were to release videos every 2 or 3 weeks, I'll be done with the 6th video by the middle of May. What am I going to do from May till the end of June? And it's going to be a bit of a rush to try and squeeze the entire build in by the middle of May. So I've decided a schedule for the videos. So this is, let me just refer to my notes here, okay? So I've had episode 1, which dealt with the design and timber prep. And with that, we worked on the neck blank. And episode 2, I was working on the top for the body, and we talked about decisions. Well, this particular video that you're watching right now will not be one of the 6 build videos because it's just all talk, no building. So this is about where we're going. So with episode 3 of the build, I'll focus on the neck and the fretboard. In fact, I've already had progress on the fretboard, and a decision has been made there. Remember, I was talking about whether I would use the rosewood piece that I had for the fretboard, or would I use the StewMac pre-slotted fretboard? Well, I'll give you a little clue. I had to saw fret slots, and you know which one I chose. You'll be able to watch that in episode 3. And in episode 4, I will deal with the body as well as inlays and carving. And obviously, some of that will take a bit of time. So I've decided that I'm looking at releasing episode 3 somewhere in the middle of April and episode 4 in the first week of May. So what's episode 5? Well, in episode 5, I'd like to finish the build. So we're looking at finishing the guitar, including stains, if any, the finish, hardware, as well as electronics, and basically trying to get that finished guitar by episode 5. And for that, I'm looking at the end of May to have that video. That will give me the entire month of June to produce that 6th video. And the final video, I'm looking at a summary of the build, an overview, and of course, I'd like to include a demo. What does it sound like? What is it capable of? How does it play? Because that's the main thing about building a guitar. It's not just that it's got to look great. It's got to be the best that I can possibly make it, and it's got to be functional. It's got to be playing well. So that's what I'd like to do for episode 6. And episode 6, I'd like to do that in the last week of the month of June. For the first 2 builds, my first 2 guitars that I built, I used pre-slotted fretboards. And for the 3rd guitar that I built, well, the scale length was unique, so I had to cut it myself. I had to mark it and saw the frets. And it took a lot of time, basically clamping it down, clamping a guide, and sawing each one, unclamping, moving, clamping, making sure it's clamped exactly where I need to cut the slot. Well, with this latest build, the one that I'm working on right now, I tried a different method, and I found that it works well, and it was relatively fast. It was quick. So I'd like to do another video just talking about how I worked on the fretboard, and it might help some of you who maybe are new to working on fretboards, or maybe figure I'm not very confident of working on a fretboard. And the other part that I enjoy doing in building guitars is the neck. I love working on the neck. And I know that there are a few competitors in this year's Great Guitar Build-Off taking part in the kit build who probably could do a scratch build, but they're a little concerned about being able to do the neck. A video on how I build guitar necks, and maybe it's got some information that might be useful to some of you. So in addition to the 6 build videos, there'll be a video here and there in between. Definitely now between episode 2 and 3 you have this video. Between episode 4 and 5 and 5 and 6, I'm sure I'm going to have a video, and maybe I'll have one between episode 3 and 4 as well. So that's what I plan to do with the build videos and some of the other videos that I'll slot in between. Thank you for staying with me right to the end of this video. And if you'd like to watch episodes 3, 4, 5, and 6, then, and if you haven't subscribed yet, maybe it's a good idea to hit that subscribe button. And if you like what you heard today in this video, give me a thumbs up. I'd appreciate that. And if you're taking part in the Great Guitar Build-Off as well, then good luck with your build. I'm looking forward to watching your build updates as well and seeing what you come up with. In fact, I'm enjoying watching many of you and your build updates so far in the videos that you have, and I'm looking forward to great builds at the end of the competition. Thank you. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. And if you're watching it in the middle of the week, then well, enjoy the rest of the week and have a great weekend that's coming up. Thank you. Bye.